Good morning again to all the brothers and sisters all over the world. Thank you for giving me the chance to share with everyone after quite a long time of gap. And we are very, very happy that our dearest master is back on live on this Wondrous Lotus Sutra on chapter 18. So we're about 20. Okay, since September 12th, Master began on this chapter 18 on rejoicing in accord with merit and virtue, and she has begun for 16 days. And as you can see, it's a rather short chapter as compared to most of the other chapters. It only consists of just 2 segments. One, there's a long verses, and after which a recitation in stanzas. Just these 2 parts, and this chapter will have ended. So it's one of the shorter chapter within the whole of the sutra. And we are just at the beginning. So let's enter into this. So let's very quickly go through what's the sutra text that the master went through with us up to now. So we kind of quickly refresh ourselves on the storyline between. Okay, so we're talking about that at this point, the main character has changed to our Bodhisattva Maitreya, being the one speaking to Buddha, asking, for example, to the world one, if a good man or a good woman hears this Dhamma Flower Sutra that the Buddha has been, repeatedly urging everyone to uphold, and then speaking of how the merits and virtue it would be to uphold this Lotus Sutra, at earlier chapter 17, distinction of the merit and virtue. Everything repeatedly is talking about how much merit it has, and to uphold this sutra, how important this sutra is, so on and so forth. And so now Bodhisattva Maitreya came to ask, so if one person hears this Dhamma Flower Sutra and rejoices in it, in fact, more accurately, rejoices in accord with it, how much blessings or blessedness will he or she attain? That Bodhisattva Maitreya asked in this way, how much blessing that he or she would attain from rejoicing in the sutra. Because usually we will say that we give without asking anything in return, and so we don't really ask for blessings. But interestingly, Bodhisattva Maitreya is asking for it, asking if we rejoices in this sutra, what's the blessing we will receive? And to repeat that, he verses, after the world one enters the ultimate quiescence, if one hears this sutra and rejoices accordingly, how much blessedness will he gain? And so the Buddha told the Bodhisattva Maitreya that Ajita is the other name of Bodhisattva Maitreya. So after passing into the stillness, if any practitioner, be it bhikshu or bhikshuni, or upasaka or upasika, that's the lay practitioners, male and female, or any other person with wisdom, whether young or old, having heard this sutra and rejoiced accordingly, leaves the Dhamma assembly and goes to another place. Hearing it, rejoice, and then go into any other places, Sangha dwellings, uninhabited places, to cities, to streets, to town, to any place, to their family members, and then use their best ability to share with father, mother, relatives, good friends. When I read this, I was like, it's very tangible, very it's like when we go to our group sharing, something really, really awesome. or went to distributions, went to our volunteer work, very happy, and then went back home to share with our spouses, or share with our kids, or share with our family members. In this, something like this, or share with our neighbors, our good friends, our joy in participating in our volunteering works. It's very much like this. Hearing the teachings, practicing the teaching, rejoicing in it, and then sharing, coming back to share with others. So, and then this person, after hearing it, also rejoice in it, that, oh, this is really, really good. I want to go with you. And then, participating in the volunteering work together, also very happy, and then go out further to share with other person, and so on and so forth. And in this way, the process repeats until it reaches the 50th people. And now Buddha is going to say, so what is the merit and virtue of that 50th good man or good woman who rejoices in court and listen well? So we kind of roughly reach over here, and then Master is beginning in just 1-2 lines after this, but the story kind of reach here. That so we see a few ideas over here, how one rejoices in listening to the Lotus Sutra, and they share with more people around them, and then this person also share with more people, and then this person shares with even more people, and so on and so forth for 50 times. And what is the virtue of that? Okay, so that's the idea. I want to come back to talk about this title of this chapter itself. I think very interestingly, just now we were talking about how Bodhisattva Maitreya asked this question. He asked in a way that if a person is rejoiced in accord with Dharma Flower Sutra, how much blessings he will attain. Okay, so I think when we ask it in this way, it's more like the second one, the below, the one below, the merit and virtue of rejoicing. Because when you look at this Chinese, 水洗功德品, 水洗功德品. So are we talking about the merit and virtue of rejoicing? Or are we talking about rejoicing in accord with merit and virtue? I think these two ideas is very different. It's directly opposite. One is asking about what would I gain, the merit and virtue, if I rejoice in the Dhamma Flower Sutra. And the other one is when you see merit and virtue, when you see others merit and virtue, and rejoicing in it. And that's something that we hope to learn from. So which one is it? Which one it should be? Of course, in our live caption translation, we have been using rejoicing in accord with merit and virtue. And indeed, I think the above one is one that is more accurate in what this is trying to say. For example, I took an excerpt from 3 days ago, where Master spoke this. Master says, this chapter is called 水洗功德品, and let's fill in the gap with the above one, rejoicing in accord with merit and virtue. It hopes for people to give praises and motivate each other in doing good. So I think in this way, it's rejoicing, the target of our rejoice is in each other's doing good, or in each other's merits and virtue in that way. And so it should mean rejoicing in accord. That means rejoicing in line, like in resonance with the merit and virtue that the crowd or the people have done. And so it is that rejoicing in that whole merit and virtue, that goodness, that good virtue, that good merit that is done, whether it's by others or by ourselves, or by all people around us, rejoicing in that whole atmosphere, in that whole merit and virtue. And that rejoicing itself is powerful. It's powerful because Master is talking about telling us how praises motivations in each other, motivating each other when when we are all doing good. That is a very strong power, very strong strength. And so I want to clarify that we are not asking about. I think here the main theme would not be asking about what merit and virtue would I gain when I rejoice in it. It's like as if we are still asking for something, we're still seeking for something, but not really. But it's rejoicing in other people's merit and virtue. That is the main thing over here. So that's first clarify this title of the chapter. Yeah, so this one is important. Okay, and then the next idea would be the whole idea of transmitting 传承. How do we do it without deviating? I mean, Master has shared with us a few times the story of Ananda, how we know that Ananda lives in the when the Buddha is still around, and then having been by the side of the Buddha, listening firsthand to what Buddha has said. And so in the sutra, it always began with "Thus I have heard, thus I have heard." So that's what Ananda has heard and recited for us. But even in that era, even Ananda himself that has heard the sutra, heard the Buddha's teaching directly, and taught it and recited it by himself, and then afterwards written into sutra, even Ananda himself has faced the difficulty that there will be generations that have received it differently. And so we heard of this story of how Ananda, when he was, I hope I remember correctly, when he was something like 102 years old, went out one day and I heard a monastic on the street, eagerly reciting a stanza that reads like this. I don't know how to translate 水老鹤, some water crane, I think, but that goes like this: one would rather live a day, but get to see this something water crane, something that's very, very, very hard to see. Instead of living 100 days but not being able to see it. So that was a stanza that this practitioner keep reciting by himself. And Ananda heard it. It was like, no. This is not what the Buddha have taught. The Buddha has taught this, that one would rather live a day and get to understand the law of dependent origination instead of living 100 years without understanding it. This should be what this stanza is about. It's not about this grand whole thing, but it should be, where do we understand this law of dependent originations? And Master have repeated this idea quite a few times, and Master also because Confucius said a phrase also, that if one person is able to hear the teaching, hear the Dao, the path, in the morning, then it is okay to pass away at night that day. So the idea is the same, that live long or short is not so much the matter, but can we quickly understand or have the affinity to listen to the right teaching, the law of different originations. This is the true emptiness, wondrous existence. It's all related to this, that nothing is really fixed, everything is possible, and it's all formed from causes and conditions, that everything is formed. And so everything has its cause, has its effect, has its result. We need to understand that these cause and effect, but at the same time also know that it's dependent. It's dependently originated. And so it can change, it will change. There's impermanence. everything will change. When the cause has ceased, the result will cease as well. So everything's impermanent, things will change, 行运, things will change all the time. So that is just nature. But at the same time, we also know that there is the cause and effect happening within this. And so understanding this law of limited origination, or emptiness is the another word of this, is one of the key concepts or the foundation of the Buddha's teaching. And so that's why Ananda says, this stanza should be this. One would rather live a day and get to understand the law of dependent origination instead of living 100 years without understanding it. And so Ananda told this young practitioner that this should be the stanza, recite on this. And so the young practitioner was like, oh, okay, thank you, Venerable Ananda. I will recite on this. And so this young practitioner, changed this stanza and to continue reciting, and went back to his own monastery. And then his master, his teacher, heard him reciting this different stanza and was like, hey, this is not how I taught you. Who told you this stanza? And this young practitioner replied, it was Venerable Ananda told me that this should be the stanza and not the earlier one about the water grant. And this teacher told this young practitioner that, oh, come on, don't listen to that old grumpy old man. He's already old. His memory is not as before. Don't listen to him. Listen to me. I'm your teacher. Recite on this one, and you'll be right. And then I heard this and was very, very sad that that even when we are there, when he's there, when he was still present to give the right teaching, the right direction, but yet people are already not listening to him. And so he went into parinirvana earlier, when he was 100-something years old. So I think from this, we see how difficult it is for the right teaching, the true Dharma, to continue even to the second or the third generation. It is already very difficult. Just reflecting upon ourselves, do we all think that we already understand and completely matches with what our dearest Dharma Master is trying to eagerly tell us? The remaining time, we also feel that we are really not. We are not there yet. We are really not there yet, and also we also feel very worried. Then when Master is not around, have we already catch what Master is trying to tell us? So even when Master is around, it is already so difficult to really match us very well with what Master is trying to say. Not to say us reciting the same idea to another person, and this person reciting that idea to another person. Of course. I think up to today, with about 90,000 commissioners around the world, we have, say, about 4 to 5 generations of brothers and sisters. Master was saying about how commissioners, when our earlier pioneers, commissioners, when they get commissions, and then led a group of xiaoji, with her or with him, and then this xiaoji, the second generation, also become commissioned, and then they also had their members, and then inviting them also become commissioned, and so on and so forth. These generations passing down and down. Maybe we have reached about 4 or 5 generations already, and so now we have about 90,000 commissioners around the world. And this idea is like this: is about what the sutra is saying is it's roughly like this: how we are passing one generation to another, commissioners to commissioners, how the teaching is passed at the same time, the action is passed down as well. How commissioners will hear teachings from our master, and then practicing it in our volunteering work, in our daily life, and then share with more people, and then this person also practice in their life, and then share the teaching further and further. This is what we have been doing, and so on and so forth. But yet we can also feel how difficult it is, and also reflect upon ourselves. Have we Master's heart as our heart, mission as our mission? Is our direction really right and not deviating? This is what all of us, as the first generation Jingsi Dhamma lineage disciple, we should ask ourselves again and again and again. Have we catch what Master is trying to say? Is our direction right? Have we deviated? Because a little deviation, and that deviation passing down generation and generation. This is what Master has always been saying. 差之毫厘，失之千里. If us first generations, we have not catch it right, that small deviation is going to lead very seriously well off in the generations to come. So that's remind each of us to be diligent and listening to what Master is trying to tell us. And that's try to do an experiment, or to try to calculate this whole idea. Repeating generation after generations for 50 generations, what's the power of that? I know in the sutra, it seems, 50 people, no, but let's try that. We probably haven't, brothers and sisters, we haven't calculated that before. That's if you have a phone around you or a calculator around you, let's take it up now and try it for ourselves. Say, for example, we are the first generation disciple, okay, and we share the teaching or lead just one other people, okay, into Tzu Chi, become commissioners, and also walking the path together. And then that person is also very very righteous in the path, and then very passionate into it, and 大菩萨大种子really the seed into this, and then also go out and share with other people. The mathematics will go like this: that one will become two, and then 2 person each share with another 2 person, that 2 will become 4. 4 will become 8, 8 will become 16, 16 will become 32, 32 becomes 64, so on and so forth, so on and so forth. So take out a calculator. Let's try to calculate what that value is. So 2 multiplied by 2, 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 multiplied by 2. Repeat that for 50 times. Okay, 50 times. Try that. It takes a while. 50 times. Yeah. I think among you, some of you all already have your answer. Or maybe your calculator couldn't calculate that value because it's really very huge. Okay. For some of you, the answer you have got might look something like this. Okay. 1.1258999 with an E and then a 15 below after each. For the scientific people out there, we would know what this means. It's the scientific notation. That means 1.125 something something, but multiply it with 10 to the power of 15. Okay, I know that might not sound very understandable to some of us, brothers and sisters. So let me expand it to the very exact value of it. So what is it? This. It goes like, I really don't. I don't know what billion, how many billion it is, but it goes 112589990684264. Okay. Yeah, I don't know how. Is that zillion or billion? But okay. So this is the number. Okay, 50 times, and we know our current population in this year, last year was 7 billion, 7.5 billion, and it only reaches about this place in this number. And maybe you would say that the number of human being that has ever been born in this world would have been a bit more, right? I went to search online, and then very, very interestingly, the number of human beings that has ever been born in this world is roughly this number. That doesn't seem too huge, but just about 108 billion people has ever lived in this world. And so, well, even if that Dharma has been passed to this whole entire universe, in this world, in this earth, and then all the human beings from don't know how much years, the entire history has already heard the teachings, and yet we have not yet reached that 50th people yet. So actually and we are kind of, we set our the beginning, we said that each person only shared with one other people, and that's about it. But we all know that each of us, we may have 40 members, 会员, or some of our really good brothers and sisters, we have in our lifetime led like 20-30 commissioners to be commissioned. So our numbers will be much greater, much greater than this. Okay. So what I want to say is the power of rejoicing in accord with the merit and virtue of others, sharing it out to another person, leading the person together to do the good deed, and then share it and not to further to another person. That strength is really, 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 really powerful. It's as good as infinity. And so that's why I think in this chapter of rejoicing in accord with the merit and virtue is very important in this chapter. Why do we need to rejoice in other people's merit and virtue? Because that allows for these merit and virtue to be passed, to be spread, to be taken into ourselves. And then we share with another person, and then this other person is willing to rejoice in the merit and virtue, taking it upon himself, and then share with another person. And then this another person is willing to rejoice in the merit and virtue and taking it upon himself, and then share it further. And this strength is really, really, really powerful. We can purify the mind of people in this way. And so I think Master gave blessings, say for example, to Malaysia, that 100万百万好菩萨, 10,000, 10,000, right? 10,000 people, members in the country. And then when you reach that, Master says, you just need one person to lead another person. And then, so the goal is 20,000. And then after 1 year, you want to reach the goal, Master says 30,000. So on and so forth. That's the power of this chapter. Rejoicing in the merit and virtue. That's the power. We can really purify the mind of people in this world in this way. And so that's the strength of this chapter. And I want to just quickly go through a tiny little bit on the three kinds of rejoicing. Three kinds of rejoicing that Master have taught before. And I think this is a very important idea as well. We have three kinds of rejoicing. One is 自作欢喜, another 教作欢喜, and the third 见作欢喜. Rejoicing with one's own good deed. I think this is easy because we ourselves have experience in doing that good deed, and we are happy in that, and that is 自作欢喜. Doing a good deed and then feeling happy about it, and that is good. Second stage is rejoicing in teaching others to do good. and happy, and is happy in that. And that is the second stage we hope to reach. And so that's what all commissioners, brothers and sisters, we learned to share the teachings with other people, to share with our members, to share with our family and friends, teaching others to also walk onto this path. That's the second stage, rejoice in teaching others. But the third stage is rejoice in seeing others becoming good, doing good deeds. And that is something not so easy as well. I mean, doing good deeds ourselves is easy, but seeing others and not feeling jealous or not feeling that, wow, he's doing so well. Suddenly I feel I'm not so good. And all these kind of thoughts is not well, it's not good. How can we practice to rejoice in other people's, when other people do good, we feel like, wow, he's so good, I want to learn from you, and this is really, really good. I rejoice in it, and let's motivate each other on this path, doing good deed as well. So 见作欢喜, rejoicing in seeing others doing good, and that is the third stage. And these three things combined together is this rejoicing a core with merit and virtue. And I think this idea is important. Let's remind ourselves on this as well. So praises among our brothers and sisters, always give praises to each other. It's a very powerful strength. It's a motivating ourselves as well as others to do the good things more and more and more and more. And it is a very, very, very powerful strength. That's what we have seen. That number is really amazing. So, Buddha's heart is our heart, Master mission is our mission. Let's really walk on this path very firm and exact without deviating, really putting the heart as our heart. And so that right teaching, the purifying thoughts, purifying teachings can really be spread to 50 generations and beyond. Thank you so much for listening.
Gan En, Brother Yu Ping. Good morning to all brothers, sisters. So first of all, I would like to thank Sis Yu Ching for inviting me to share on this chapter on Devadatta. So just a quick introduction. I've been actually with Tzu Chi for 5 years and was commissioned in year 2016. The Dharma name given by Master is Ben Yi. As a career, I'm actually involving in recruitment business for the past 18 years. As in Tzu Chi, I'm currently in the Pei and also in Huai. So today, I'm happy to share about this chapter with the outline of talking about objective, the story of Devadatta and Sakyamuni Buddha, and also how we could learn from their spirit of cultivation. Also a little sharing about my challenge in workplace, and finally the Jing. So the first objective is to strengthen our faith in Lotus Sutra and also comprehend the great Bodhisattva. So the objective will be to strengthen our faith in Lotus Sutra and comprehend the great path, and also to persist in the spiritual cultivation despite the tests and setbacks that we face along the way. Okay, there's this very interesting video I believe most of us have watched. It is in Mandarin, but they have, of course, an English subtitle. They talk about the story of Buddha, and there's a part that they mention about how Devadatta trying to harm or even kill Buddha. That was at the hour of 1 hour 30 minutes to 35 minutes. So if you have the chance, probably you can actually find that video in YouTube and try to have some further understanding on this video. So there were actually few offenses, great offenses of Devadatta. First, he was trying to destroy the harmony of Sangha and kill an Arhat, and even injured the Buddha's foot. In fact, he actually was trying to pull a big stone downhill, and in fact managed to hurt Buddha, and in that incident, drawing the blood of the Buddha. So, and even finally, he was still trying very hard to kill Buddha by applying very extreme poisonous toxin on his fingernails to kill, poison and kill Buddha. Of course, he didn't make it. So the consequence was that Devadatta suffered defeat in hell for one great kappa. But yet, he was still predicted of future Buddhahood by a Buddha. And why? So the cause was that Devadatta has such affinity to always born in the same lifetime as Buddha. And in fact, Buddha in the past life was a king. And he encountered a sage by the name of Asita, which was a past life of Devadatta, who promised to teach the king true Dharma and put the king through much hardship. And yet the king was willing to give everything, including his life, to seek the great teaching. This is what I extracted from the sutra verses, where the king asked, "Who possesses the great law?" So, and whoever possesses that, he, and willing to explain and preach it for him, he will be his slave and servant. And the king will follow this sage, providing him whatever he needed, preparing food, gathering firewood. So even offering his own body as a couch and seat. So he will serve this sage in this manner for 1,000 of years for the sake of the law. And if they were out and the sage got tired, the king would bend down, and also use his body as a chair for the sage to rise. And if the sage wanted to lie down, he would probably he would obediently use his body as a bed also. So the thing is, the king was doing this for thousands of years and never changed and wavered. So all of this for the sake of true Dharma, which was held by Asita at that moment. So now the answer to why earlier that Devadatta was still bestowed the prediction of future Buddhahood. So that's why Master keeps saying that we need to have deep faith, in this, because otherwise we will wonder that why such evil person like Devadatta can still, be predicted Buddhahood in the future. So, so there was a clear karmic distribution of good and evil. So when Devadatta in the past upheld Lotus Sutra, so that was the reason and the cause why he was, given the prediction. Though he was trying very hard, and of course on the evil part, so his distribution was, even at the moment still in the hell, and it's going to be for a great kalpa. So everyone, no matter how evil in someone's eye, they still have the inherent Buddha nature. There's no difference between our mind, Buddha, and all sentient beings, including in this chapter, the second part of it is talking about the dragon, little dragon maiden. So even she was also, treated as equally the same, as all sentient beings. So because every one of us has a nature of true suchness, the inherent Buddha nature. And in this chapter, we will also be very grateful to learn the spirit of cultivation. Even as the ancients say, when heaven bestows great responsibility upon a person, it first makes them to go through great physical and mental hardship. Just like the situation, the incident of a king, the stoic king, served as a servant and slave for Asita for 1,000 years. Great master of the past and even current, they will also sacrifice to pursue great Dharma and not waver in the face of. So we have always heard about and also watched many performance or broad performance of by our sis Cheng Yen on this eminent monk, Venerable Master Shen Zhang. So he has actually went through a arduous journey of over 50,000 miles to the west and took 3 years on foot just to gain the true Dharma from India at that moment. And also we have Venerable Master Cheng Yen, who also faced many difficulties going to Japan to spread the Dharma. In fact, he even lost his sight, but he was still willing to go there to spread. Not forgetting, of course, our beloved and respected Dharma Master Cheng Yen, who has also definitely went through a lot of hardship, from founding Tzu Chi Foundation with 30 housewives, and also how, went through the hardship of building the first hospital in Hualien. Even at recent years, encountered some criticism about Tzu Chi, so all of this, even now, trying to actually pass on the, first vehicle Dharma to us every morning, Tzu Chi Hualien. So these are all great masters that we can learn from. And of course, we always talk about Africa. We have this brother, I think his name is Sam. So they have to actually normally go through 2 times of translation, just to get spend 1 hour just to get a 10 minutes Dharma translation by master. We also have this Lesotho volunteers, who is actually already 87 years. She walked for 4 hours at a freezing temperature just to listen to master teaching. So coming back to my own application of this chapter, so recently, that is also the reason why I choose this chapter to share, because recently I encountered some challenge, I would say little, compared to the challenge that all the masters have faced. I would say it's also a reflection of a decaying Dharma period, whereby there's a deterioration of values. So there was a time when I thought we were doing well in our business, and I was trying to actually promote a CSR, corporate social responsibility, and I thought people would love it, with the younger generation. But unfortunately, they were actually not really interested, and thought that was not related to sales, and they are just interested in making money. So when we are trying to persuade, and of course there was some misalignment and disagreement, and it became disrespectful as well towards people with different personalities, and even that trying to hurt each other, and resulting in grouping, office politics, and all those. So, and when we try to actually instill some good values, so of course people don't like it, and started to have distrust, and they feel that there was some favoritism for people who actually try to follow. Then starting to have sabotage and bad mouthing via social media. So all this, I think, really it was a challenge, and as you all know, recently also in Malaysia we have changed government, so people also think, hey, probably it's a time to change the leadership. So there was some challenge I faced in my workplace, and also coming to a situation whereby the owner of the company or the big boss think that, well, we shouldn't have people who are like virus and cancer in the group, and decided and wanted to terminate the employees. So at that moment, I was facing a dilemma, because as we know, in the Bodhisattva path, we always try to create good affinity. So by doing so, I thought it's not good, but well, this is a decision by the top management. So I was trying to find an answer, is this the right thing to do? So, and when I recall and review the Lotus Sutra by Master, there was a part, it was mentioned that Buddha expelled Devadatta from the Sangha. It was not something that Buddha would like to do, but for the benefit of the whole, well, he did that, and to save the whole Sangha. When I actually posed this question to Brother Joe just last Tuesday, for Tzu Chi, we don't expel, because everyone is a family member. So I think with that, I really respect that, because he also says that we really have great compassion for people. Though there were times that there was some problem with I think one of the commissioners who involved in the food processing, and there was some criticism from the society. So what the commissioner did was that I think he surrendered his commissioner badge, because he thought and of course he repent. That was the important part. He repent of what the wrongdoing was. So hopefully in the future you still have the affinity to come back to Tzu Chi. So the solution, or what I have applied from Lotus Sutra in my workplace challenge, was that I found this very useful personally for myself, which is the 4 bases of mindfulness, 4念处, Satipatthana. Particularly in the fourth mindfulness, which is the mindfulness of phenomena, no self or no attachment. Because when a lot of would say attack were coming along my way, so really it was not easy situation. Sometimes you even have a challenge in sleeping. But when we when I tried to apply this mindfulness of phenomena, actually just to detach myself from the situation, then I felt very much better. And at the same time, also I have gratitude, and I treat this as cultivation, because probably these people are my past teacher or sage to train me, just like Asita training the king, or Devadatta, training, or giving a hardship to Buddha. And of course, there's one important parameter that we learn, especially in my workplace, is actually the forbearance. So as much as like Master mentioned recently also, how Buddha practiced forbearance towards Devadatta and king towards Asita. So I also apply, also learn from Master that we can actually use precepts or rules, house rules, as a system in my workplace, and of course love to manage. Example would be having fixed lunch hour, house performance management system. So everything is by the rules, by the system. So there's not much of personal emotional attachment. Of course, one great value is also to use love to dissolve resentment and to forgive and not to hold grudges. So what I've learned also is being mindful of the audience, the generation gap, because I'm actually leading a team of younger generation of the 80s and the 90s. So like what we have learned from this chapter, this chapter 18, be very careful of what I say, and because you'll be received differently. So we heard about the story of Ananda, have hardship passing on Dharma, like this, what Brother Yubing mentioned just now, is that water crane versus the law of dependent origination. So even for just one generation, they were already hardship. So definitely, in trying to instill good values upon my team members, I have to be very mindful of all this and how it was being received. So at one time, I was even thinking of should I quit my job to realize my vow, because in last 2 years when I was commissioned, I make a vow to be a full-time volunteer between 3 to 5 years. So this is actually the second year. So I thought, well, I can actually devote myself more in Tzu Chi instead of having to deal with all these challenges in my workplace. But then my realization now is that, well, my workplace is actually my cultivation. Just like what Brother Joe mentioned, if even come to Tzu Chi, they were also bound to have people, even being different perception, different thoughts, and sometimes you may encounter similar situation. So why not use my workplace as just my cultivation? So be grateful, be tough, and be kind. And interestingly, in last Tuesday, when Brother Joe was given some insights, so he raised a question. In fact, sometimes we have to ask ourselves, actually, who is the Devadatta? So I would thought that maybe these people who give me challenge are actually my Devadatta. But maybe in their eye, I actually could be their Devadatta. So we are also giving challenge to our fellow colleagues, or even maybe our brother and sister sometimes. So this is a good realization, I thought. So we have to be mindful of that as well. So with that, I would like to remind myself and also share with brothers and sisters. With the Buddha's mind, we will see everyone as Buddha, and of course with the Ghost mind, we see everyone as Ghost. Everyone will have the true suchness. Even have you seen many examples of our brother commissioners who used to be prisoners before, and they can become commissioners. So same principle, same understanding of why there will be a future prediction of Devadatta to gain Buddhahood. And reminding myself, if I do not see eye to eye with others, it could be a reflection of my own lack of cultivation, right? And last but not least, the 3 no's. If you still remember, that's what Master teaches. There's no one that we don't love. In this world that we don't love. There's no one that we don't trust, and there's no one that we don't forgive. Right? That will be my sharing for today. Thank you so much, brothers and sisters, for listening.
Thank you, Brother Calvin, for sharing. It's really, really complete reminder and refresh on this whole chapter. And a lot of the ideas while we are talking about, I was quickly searching on online, thinking about the ideas also, like what you shared about how the Buddha has actually expelled Devadatta from the Sangha. And but in Tzu Chi we don't do that. I mean, everyone is part of our family members, no matter how not so well is the person. We only think about how to continue guiding, or still thinking, never giving up on a person. But I was reflecting upon this idea and was searching online. And I don't know, this part about expelling Devadatta from the Sangha, uh, there was some mentions about it, but I think one of the idea is also that when at the end of the day, when Buddha is about to enter parinirvana, Ananda also asked about how when we meet these groups of sanghas that has deviated from the path, how should we face them? And the way that Buddha taught is just mobi, kind of together as a group. I mean, just let him be, basically that, let him be. So I think this is the idea that we wish to learn from the Buddha, that we don't have the right to punish another person for the wrongdoings. Cause and effect has its own way to teach the person of the wrongdoings, but we do not have the right to punish another person. The most we can do is let him be, and then focusing on our own path. But never in our mind should we have bad thoughts about another person, or speaking ill of another person, or even thinking about letting go of the person, or just forget about the person. Not really that. I mean, let him be, but waiting for the chances that this person would come back again. I think this is what the Buddha hopes to teach us. So I think, yeah, this is what I wish to just share a little further. But thank you again for Brother Kevin for refreshing our memory again on this chapter. It's a really, really important chapter on really kick us into the core that everyone has the Buddha nature, no matter how up in the form a person has been doing evil or not. This is just the cause and effects that has led, the karma that has led to this person in this way. But deep down, we all have that same Buddha nature. Everyone can change, like what you have said. Even prisoners, those that have done all the bad things before, can also become a commissioners as well. Everyone has the possibilities to change. So emptiness or impermanence, it's really a good thing. That means infinite possibilities, that we should really have the open heart to receive, to encompass everyone in this world, even a person like Devadatta. Buddha is grateful to Devadatta for giving him for all these things that he may have done, that practices Buddha's will in giving, in keeping precepts, in forbearance, and so on and so forth. And all of these, Buddha has been grateful to Devadatta. Help him in this path of practice. In the same way, we should always be grateful to all the things that happen around us, bad or good. It all helped us on our path of practice. Thank you again, Brother Kevin, for your sharing. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And then, Yu Ping for your insights here.